hopefully we'll be back up online in a moment. But the important thing is, there we go. I think we're coming back. Very possibly. I think so. Am I back? Can you guys see me? All right. Sorry about the see if it's coming through. I don't know, Lady B, if you can hear me. I'm welcome. Yeah, okay, we're back. Good. All right. Sorry. So, yeah, maybe I need to see how technically I'm able to connect to the the internet over here while talking about the circumstance over. But yeah, the chat thread. Sorry about that, guys. The I think really more than the political aspect of what's going on here, maybe this will keep me in a safe zone, is the idea that we, on a cultural and personal level, there's a lot of, there is a lot of differences between the, the nature of, sort of just generalized personal Chinese culture and American culture, certainly. And it is it's certainly a conversation worth having about, personality wise, what that means. I'm not going to get taken. We'll be okay. I'm back. It's all good. I'm trying to connect to Chicago again. I lost him for a second. We're going to take a break there, and we'll be back right after this in Chicago. I'll see you, Lady B. Lost you on YouTube and Thailand one. I'm back, though. So we'll take a break on there. Hopefully, Lady B, you can hear me now via the YouTube. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Trying to reconnect. Sometimes, quite frankly, it's just the nature of just internet being rough, period, and I'm on for a longer stretch than most, so that can always be tough, and I can never tell when it's going to drop and when it's going to come back on. Well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Hopefully I'll get connect. Back to home. Yeah. How Petra's on. I mean, yeah, definitely, Julie. I do want to go to Petra. You won't hear any CPT commercials. I'm not connected to them this way, and they're not sending them anyways. So we'll be okay. We got till the 5 after to reconnect. So I'll manage. We'll find our way through. Don't worry. Let me see if I can get a different Wi-Fi. Let's see if I can get on the regular Wi-Fi here and then connect. Did you connect? Yeah, maybe. Think so. Either way. Oh, no. On, off. We'll see. Yeah. Choose. Okay. So, yeah. But I'm glad this is working for the time being. At least we have this. I'm always multitasking. That's the thing, man. At 2 o'clock in the morning, by the way, and we have a full other hour of CPT this morning too. So hopefully we'll get hooked up and they won't have to worry too much about it. But at least Lady B has this audio to go with until such time as I get bumped off here occasionally. But at the very least, we can have that that option. 1 second, yeah. Hoping it gets locked back in. Yes, happy holidays to everybody in the HSRPM family. Didn't people fly from other countries to go to the Flat Earth Convention? Mind boggles. Yeah, but look, the Earth looked flat out their window the whole time. Like, dude, totally, see ya. Totally ya. Let's see. Yeah. Hold on. Have a best of on standby. Okay, she's got a best of on standby just in case we go south. But I think I've got audio on YouTube. You should be able to use YouTube. Let's see. Let her know YouTube is up. So, love you too, Charles. Thank you. The earth is flat. Where's the edge? It's guarded by UN troops. Do you not know anything, darn tootin'? I mean, honestly. There goes the Apple Watch. That's right. I have to put it on silent, but this is how Lady B can. That's how she can kind of. You see a Newsweek piece about the Russian guy who says we're going to mount a mission to verify the Apollo landings. BS. Oh. Joint Select Committee on Solvency of Multi-Employer Pensions Plans looks. By the way, I personally believe that that Russian trolls and the like are behind, and there's some argument that the Saudis troll farms and the Israeli troll farms are behind the rise in both moon denial and flat Earth and a couple of other things. So, saw your stand-up special for Santa Ana. Talk about autocorrect. Well, thank you, Zach. Had to go find the coriander seeds to go with the fresh thyme and rosemary, prepare the pork tenderloin for my girlfriend. Nice. By the way, I had a yam going up the mountain yesterday. I went up Ame Shan, which is this is gold booty on the Buddha on the top of booty. Gold Buddha on the top of it. You can tell I'm tired. Hello. Okay. I don't know why this doesn't connect right now on that guy, but we'll see. Yeah. But maybe this is control. One example of trolls try call from an Argentina IRS agent. Right. Let's see. Maybe. Okay, last 30 seconds. Okay, we're rolling back in a second. I won't be able to hear Lady B, but we'll call it as we go. And we'll be back in a couple seconds. As soon as it turns to 2:06, I'm gonna go as live. Welcome back to the show. This is the House Parks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT. I'm on the line from Chicago from China right now, using every possible outlet to my that's available to me to try and connect today. And so I appreciate everybody for joining us on this holiday weekend. I hope that you're having some fun. Hanging with family. I hope your holidays this season are particularly full of bonding and love and respect and emotional connection and joy and all the things that the holiday season should be about. I look forward with many of you to a day when some semblance of political normalcy happens to our world, so I can go back to joking about Rubik's cubes and other stuff, and not have to worry that we're on the verge of a nuclear war with North Korea, or that every member of my LGBT friends are all teetering on the brink of having their rights stripped away from them every afternoon on the whim of an orange buffoon. That would be nice. Maybe that's a good Christmas wish for everybody. That being said, there is a ton of, elements where Trump himself is, I think, wearing out his welcome is the best way to describe it, with his own supporters. We are hearing again and again how, these either Obama crossover, soft voters, or people who just, on a whim didn't like Hillary, so decided I'm going to vote for Trump just as a protest vote, and then it actually went that way, who are regretting it after the fact and finding out that they have you know, woken up in a situation where it isn't, where the choice between the lesser of two evils became a choice for some genuine evil. These moments when, you know, the you hear again and again when people, they make this distinction. You guys know, and chat room especially, you guys know, I've ranted on this quite a few times, but this idea that in the choice between, quote, the lesser of two evils, vote for the lesser of the two evils, because it's not like you have a choice. It is literally like you have to get home and you have two choices. You have a drunk Uber driver or a sober Uber driver who smells funny. There's a clear choice. And in the case of Donald Trump's kind of slapdash attachment to what it means to be a president, and what and the reality is he is simply president to enrich himself after his presidency. That's 100% about what this is about. This is about striking deals that will serve him and his family for decades to come. That's it. And it would be one thing if it was this kind of graft was your kind of standard mayoral graft. But on a presidential level, this endangers the lives of hundreds of thousands of people monthly. And one need only look at the outbreak of the polio-like disease that's happening in sort of the Minneapolis and Minnesota area, the down through the Midwest, the idea that we at any point could still be in a ratcheted up nuclear arms race with both Iran and with North Korea at the same time. And that the president literally thinks he can kind of, because flattery would work on him, he can flatter his way out of this stuff. That in and of itself is dangerous on mark with on a level we have yet to experience, in this lifetime. We have reached a danger point again and again, where if he's not endangering the lives of the citizens of the United States, he is threatening the lives of innocent men, women, and children outside of the United States. Either it would be by ratcheting up the number of people, civilians killed in drone strikes because of his rules of engagement relaxing on any kind of drone warfare, to his idea that if somebody throws a rock at a soldier, treat it like a rifle and shoot them at the border. And Tom in our chat room saying chickenpox outbreaks due to anti-vaxxers. This is idea that there is no presidential leadership at all in these circumstances. There simply isn't. And now, granted, there are a couple of areas where, since it's him, I'm perfectly fine with him not saying anything, because I don't think he would be helpful. I certainly don't think his philosophies about any particular one of these ideas, mainly his ideas about even investment, are so suspect most of the time and based on such ignorant flailing that, and again, this is a guy who, by all measures, if he had simply invested everything his father gave him in the stock market and never touched it, would be eminently more wealthy than he is or purports to be, and never would have had to borrow money from his family, his trust fund, his dead father, his dead father's business, and the Russians to stay afloat. So even and then this week literally saying, the oil prices are low. Thanks, Saudis. As if they're not using that situation to undercut oil producers all over the world, and that as a new net exporter of energy for the United States over the last 6 years, we now moving in that position, that actually hurts our exports, but so much for America first, I suppose. Uh, let's see. If Trump spoke out for vaccination, but gut reaction would be on the side of anti-vaxxers, he's wrong that much. I think you're kind of arguably right. He didn't apparently play any close. Uh, there was no closeness in his raising of his children. He avoided all the aspects of their upbringing for the most part. Didn't change diapers, wasn't a hugger, any of that stuff. So the idea that he was actually involved in whether or not his kids got vaccinated, I think is absurd. So yeah, I completely agree. The Saudis need us more than we need them, according to Morning. And I think that's absolutely true. There's been reports for years that the Saudis are nearing if they that basically they're out of oil, that they have been on a decline for the better part of a decade. They're aware of this, which is why they're trying all these things like bringing tech into the world. Why they made the AI droid woman a citizen, because Saudi Arabia believes that by making AI into citizenry, they can set them up to mine Bitcoin and tax them at 100% because they don't need money to live. So that seems to be their tack with many of them. But the idea is that the reason they're doing this is because they're running out of oil. They don't have anything to sell. And once they get into a situation where they don't have a resource that the entire world needs, what do they have that brings any money in? They are effectively a major site for religious tourism. But if they don't hold oil or some similar control point over the rest of the world's head, that's they are in the position of the Vatican. I mean, it's not a bad position to be in, but it's very different than being able to manipulate the cost of oil worldwide. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the House Parks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll be back right after this in just a few seconds, I think. All right, I'm gonna unplug this guy because it seems to be. Oh, see, that's what it was trying to do. Maybe that'll wake it up. Ah, yeah, there we go. I think we might be back on with Chicago. Hold on a second. Fingers crossed. Hey, we're connected. Hey, hi, Lady B. I managed to get it connected again. Hi. What a strangely manipulative. Oh, good. Well, that's reassuring. I don't know how long it'll last, but that's a good sign. Turn this down a little bit. Well, let's try it on the first. Oh, we'll try it on the next one since we've got them for now. And then as soon as we come back from the break, let's try it. And then if it's a problem, we just won't take the rest of them. Yeah, but I think we're okay right now. I wouldn't do the YouTube to be able to respond. That'd be a tooth pull. Forget it. So we'll use this for now and see if that makes it happen. Okay. Yeah, Carl. are really saying the main source of U.S. oil is from Canada. It's the shale oil we get from up there, and we get 4 times as much from them as we get from Saudi Arabia. The the curious thing, Saudi Arabia is another one of those things like Russia. Like, we don't need them. Trump does. Yeah, that's right. Saudis have invested billions in solar energy. Absolutely. We have so many oil reserves. Yeah, that's right, Julie. Senator Hatch is set to restructure pension system. Welcome back to the show. So, we're going to try and take some calls because I like playing with fire. Now that we're back hooked up to Chicago, we should be able to do that. So, who do we have first, Lady B? Don't tell me I lost you just then. Oh, great. We have Steve from the Gold Coast. Right on. Hey. Oh, yes, I do. Go ahead. Yes. Right.
And how the Russians had been using this sort of thing, disinformation, long before we had social media and the internet, to spread stories about things like, for instance, they use the example of AIDS. We've all heard conspiracy that AIDS was created by the U.S. government in Fort Detrick, Maryland, as some sort of bioweapon. Well, this was something that was spread by the Russians through an Indian newspaper that they tried to disseminate in the 1980s, and it blew up into a gigantic story in the decades to come. Well, guess what? Mikhail Gorbachev apologized to Ronald Reagan and George Bush for having done so, for having engaged in exactly that sort of thing. But guess what? Once the genie is out of the bottle, you will still get tens of millions of people in a society such as ours who will swear to you that, in fact, the United States government created AIDS as a way to deal with our undesirable population. So is there a way to go back? I don't know. And the piece also, and this is important, does a great job of illustrating why it is that it's necessary to have gatekeepers. And what I mean by that is that, you had a lot of young people who were at the forefront of developing all these platforms, Mark Zuckerberg and others. Well, you know what? These are tech guys. They're not civics guys, political science guys. They have no background or understanding of the fourth estate, the checks and balance system that we have in our system of government. So when they produced these platforms, and they had no understanding of how they could be exploited and manipulated, and as a result of which they didn't have any stake in ensuring that they weren't manipulated. And the problem being now is that what do? I mean, you try and regulate it by going back and figuring out which one of these accounts are actually bots, and where's their traffic that's artificial and is trying to manipulate people. Well, that means you have to go to your shareholders and say, oh, by the way, we had to eliminate a couple 100,000 accounts last month. So just so you guys know, which doesn't do anything for your bottom line. They don't have an interest in regulating this in terms of serving our democratic systems. They do have an interest in allowing it to continue because it serves their bottom line.
Right. Well, there's also, there's no value. This is the problem with getting social media for free, or the illusion of getting it for free, because the payment has to come from somewhere. These companies don't get to be billion-dollar companies because of the services they provide to the user. They get this money because of the services they provide to people accessing those users, for good or for bad. And there's nothing in their business model that says, oh, we need to, watch who we take money from and who we sell this information from. And a lot of these breaches that we've heard about, in many ways are incredibly suspect, and a lot of them point to the idea that they weren't breaches at all. They were actually sales that they just want to hide the fact that was a sales issue. And you're absolutely right with this, this idea that any situation where you'll find sort of an outsider's mindset, and you could trace this to both, from everything to like from flat earthers to incels, and the some of the shooters that we've had and the circles that they get caught up onto online, which are in large part completely fueled by both troll farms and terror groups and other people trying to manipulate people and ratchet them up. The prepper crowd is ripe with them. The militia crowds are ripe with them. The irony that Russian troll farms are using the NRA and pro-gun rights groups to drive up, gun sales and fear of, of invasion when Russia won't even allow, when Russia has nothing even close to the Second Amendment within their country, but the idea is that while they're pretending to be best buddies and getting away with it, it's stunning, and I think you're right. There is no putting it back in the bottle, except for the fact that maybe this is a part of the evolution of communication and humanity, and that that one of the things that happened when everybody learned to read was fictionalized news coming out initially, and yellow journalism, and like instead of getting real news reports from the West, they would get these novellas written by authors that portrayed people like Billy the Kid and other Western sheriffs as these sort of heroic characters, which were more narrative than official actual historical documents, or certainly news, but they served, the public's interest in being entertained and mixed it with a little bit of reality, and it became like effectively the Dateline NBC version of when reading first came out, and you could never really trust it. And you certainly wouldn't now. You'd look at it as sort of ridiculous, and we developed over time an ability to go, okay, now I know, this is that. These New York Times writers are definitely within a fold of people that I take very, very seriously, because I can go to them time and time again, and I can check